Hi, welcome to Becky's Homestead. Today we're going to talk about bartering and how bartering can benefit a homesteader. Bartering is trading merchandise for merchandise or services for services or a combination of the two. It's been very successful for me. I was actually surprised how open people are to bartering once I just asked if they would want to do it. And I really haven't gotten anybody that said no. So I think if you give it a try, you'll be very pleased with the results. Things I've bartered, things I've received through bartering is I've received my chickens, my hens outside, and I traded those for some horse equipment. I've also got this nice stove behind me here. I traded that for pony lessons for a neighbor's grandchildren when they visited for the summer. I've also traded carpentry work on my cabin for riding time, and I traded a breeding to a nice comb stallion for a used saddle that I have. Things you might want to use to barter for you are things you have extra around your house or things you're good at. Now, if you can pet sit, babysit, if you have extra things around your house that you've collected over the years and you can use that to barter. There's really an endless list of things you can barter. You just have to be pretty creative and look around and see what you're good at and things that you have in your house that somebody else might want to barter for. Years ago, bartering was very popular and almost everybody did it because it was more of a sense of neighborhood back then and people did barter and help each other out. Also, it's legal in all 50 states, so there's nothing holding you back from bartering. Just go ahead and give it a try, and I'm sure you're going to be pleasantly surprised, just like I was. I'm going to talk about a nice stallion that I chose to breed to my mare. I chose this stallion, and I actually bartered this breeding. Is because of his temperament. I don't choose a horse on papers or pedigree. You know, a lot of stallions do have a very impressive pedigree, but that's not what I personally go by. I like to spend time around the horse and see that it's a calm temperament because for us, we really use our horses around the homestead. We have a lot of people around them, so temperament is very, very important to me. So this is a nice little stallion this girl just got. It's a little on the skinny side, but she is nursing it back to health. He has a wonderful temperament, and I think he's just going to make a very nice baby with my mare. So we're going to step outside, and we're going to see the stallion and the mare. Stand still now. Stand still now. Okay. This is my neighbor Janice, and we're going to barter a breeding from her nice stallion with my mare behind us. So if you don't have a lot of money, bartering is a nice way to accomplish things on the homestead. Minnie's 20 years old, my mare behind us, and she's gaited, and this stallion is gaited, so that makes a nice trail horse. Here, you can hold him. And so Minnie's 20 years old, so basically I'm breeding to replace my mare. I'm not that into breeding to sell, but I would like to replace my mare as a trail horse.
He's 2.5, 3-year-old stud, we assume. We're not sure of that even. And he's supposed to be an American saddlebred. Very ambitious.
He looks a little thin, but Janice got him that way, and she's nursing him back to health.
He's basically a good boy.
He's a very good boy and nice-natured, and that's why I want to breed him to my mare. I traded one of my western saddles that I had for a breeding to my mare, and it worked out good for me because he's just a little excited. He wants to hurry up. He says enough talk. He's ready for action. Very gentle. Try to kick it.
You bite him, he bites back. Oh, now you see that?
Look, it goes flat when she puts it on there. Okay, we are finished with the breeding process, and the stallion has left and gone home, and as you can see, Minnie looks fine and she's all calm and there's no problems. Everything went wonderful. I'm so pleased. So we're going to step back inside now. It's seed time. So it's the time of year where we are going to pick out which seeds we're going to be planting and look forward to the delicious vegetables we get to eat towards the end of the summer. A couple things I want to talk about in gardening, because I don't come from a gardening family. I didn't have gardening in my background, so I basically just read a couple books and then jumped in. So a couple of the books that I really liked and that benefited me are called Lasagna Gardening. Also, the Countryside Magazine has a lot of good articles on gardening. So I just read that just to kind of get the feel of it, and then basically just jumped in. You can't really be afraid of failure because you just have to give it a try, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work, you try something else. That's how I've done it. Also, I think an important fact of gardening is having a journal. Keeping a journal is important because that way you can track what worked well and what didn't work well, because usually from one spring to the next a lot happens and you forget what was successful, what wasn't successful. So this is my garden journal. It's not very big, as you can see. It's not fancy. And I'm just going to tell you a couple of the things that I wrote down, and this was for '06. So now that it's '07, I can know a few things that I don't want to do and a few things I might want to try again. I did write down that I planted too early last year. I planted the flats inside in February, and then I brought them outside in March, and that was too early. The frost killed them, so I'm going to plant a little later this year. Right now it's the end of March, so I just planted my flats. Another thing I wrote about, and which you need to keep track of also, are insects. I had a problem with ants in my eggplant last year, so I'm going to be ready for that this year. A couple other things you can talk about are the last frost. You might want to write that down. How long it took to germinate your seeds, when you did harvest, what month that was. You know, you might want to water more or less. All those little things you can just jot down in your garden journal, and it's really helpful the next year. It actually makes you feel more confident about the next year of gardening, especially if you had a couple problems. You feel like you're more able to tackle those problems the next year. So basically you're going to read your books, you're going to get your soil ready. I like to box garden, and if you read in the books you'll understand what those are, and we'll give you a quick shot of my box gardens. Then you're going to want to get your garden journal, and then the next thing you're going to do is pick out your seeds. A couple of things my family likes are eggplants. We like cilantro. We also eat different kinds of squash, so I got some of those. Cucumbers, and of course tomatoes. I do want to add peppers to that because I do like to grow pepper plants. If I can give you some good advice about getting started gardening that is going to really help you, the advice would be start small. Just do a couple plants of each. Don't get this huge, overwhelming garden that you're really not sure what anything's going to do and what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. You might lose interest that way. Start small and then have a small success, and the next year you can just build on that and build on that. Another thing I'd like to point out that I really like this year that I tried are these little Jiffy Pots. I'm going to open this so you can actually see one of them. They're kind of interesting. They're like little pots, but the thing that makes them so cool is they're like cardboard pots. And what it is you don't have to try to get the plant out of there and then dig a little hole and plant it. When it's ready, you just dig the hole and you put the whole little pot right in the hole, and it kind of disintegrates and the roots just break out of the little pot, and there you go. Now these are from the company Jiffy, and you can get these probably anywhere. You can probably find these Walmart, basically any garden store really, probably Lowe's, Home Depot. Any of the big stores, you know, you probably find these little Jiffy Pots, and these are 2 1/4 inches tall. starting your flats, here are these little cardboard containers I was showing you in the house. And I learned from experience, you need to put them in a little crate, because if you don't, the wind will blow and it blows them over very easy, and then all your hard work will be ruined. It'll all be tipped over in a big mess. These seeds that you would buy in Walmart or a garden store are called hybrid seeds. And what I don't like about hybrid seeds is they don't reproduce. Every year you have to buy new seeds. I kind of don't like that idea about the seed companies that they're doing that, because that way you need to spend more money. On the other hand, there are heirloom seeds. Heirloom seeds you can buy through companies on the internet. I bought these through Morgan County Seeds, and they just come in kind of plain little white envelopes. But the nice thing about the heirloom seeds are, if you grow a tomato, you can take the tomato and the seeds in that tomato can be planted to reproduce the same exact tomato. You cannot do that with hybrid seeds. That's it for this episode of Becky's Homestead. Thanks for watching. We welcome any questions that you might have. Please send them to beckysHomestead@gmail.com.